Hello, Admiral Thrawn here, making another Let's Mod video for 30 Age Total, not 30 Age of Age of Petty Kings Total War. Here I'm going to be showing you how to create shield skins. Now, what a shield skin is basically it's a new texture for the shield to have a new house sigil or whatnot on it. So let's get right into it. So first off, a little bit of stuff about Medieval 2 skins. I'm probably going to do another video on making models and whatnot and adding weapons, etc. But for this, we're assuming you already have the shield model itself already done, like the actual 3D model and the mesh and whatnot, and we assume that that's mapped onto something. So what it is the way that these units work is you'll create a 3D model, and then you'll map it onto a texture. So you'll have so you'll say like you have the model itself. Remember, okay, so this vertex of the model goes here, the other one goes here, then the other one goes here, then here, then here, like that. So that means that every single time the model will look up the texture that goes with the model, it will put the shield right here, and it will then be sort of overlaid onto this guy. So basically what that means is that assuming you use the same shields for every single faction, or at least for a couple of different factions, or even a couple of different units, which like generally Medieval 2 mods will do, you can then reuse the same skin like this here, and then just copy over the exact location of the shield, and the new shield will appear. If that didn't make much sense, I think I'll go more in depth onto it in the video that I make on actually creating new weapons and whatnot. But for now, just basically take my word for it that if you're using the same sort of shields or models, it's possible to overwrite them and just by copying over the shields. So from there, as you can see, this is not House Redwyne here. I'm making the shields for House Redwyne, specifically the two original ones that from people who donated and they get their own houses and all that. And so I'm going to be adding the shield over this one here. Specifically, be adding the House Sweetwater, which will be located in Rhymesport. They will be on the Arbor. And so I'm going to be creating new Redwyne shield skins for them. So I do have the old shields for the House Redwyne, which is somewhere here. It's House Attachments, Redwyne. So in the original version of the mod, each texture can only support 5 different shields. The problem with this was that if you had more than 5 houses at a kingdom and all, you couldn't have all their shields be on it. So actually, a couple shields were left out. Like for example, some of you may have noticed, but House House Templeton from 9 Stars in the Vale, their shields never appeared on any of the Aeron Knights or whatnot because there just wasn't enough room for them in these textures. So I've made up for that by going totally overboard and including an absurd number of shields in this new one and all. There's like 12 shields in these sort of in the Reach template and all that. But by the way, so as for making new units, all of the units in the in all the factions in the Reach will have these sort of style shields, and will have, generally speaking, the older units from 1.0, well, with a couple minor changes. But then the Westerlands and the Stormlands and the Vale will all have their own unique rosters and all. So basically, I don't have the time to make unique rosters for every single faction, but every single sort of kingdom region will get its own unique rosters, and also it'll basically just be yeah. So that should be good. And then, alright, so I'm gonna make half of the shields here on the Arbor be Redwyne shields. And the other half are going to be for these guys here. So yeah, each kingdom region will get its own unique rosters, and then each house will have its own unique AOR units. So yeah. So there. So I've just added these shields in here, which means that now if I were to put this into the game, House Redwyne would now have all these shields here. So now I'm going to show you how to create a new shield. Now there's a lot of ways to do this and all. I'm just going to show you the way that I found, because I think this way works the best for me at least. But that being said, if you have your own way of doing things and all, that's up to you. But anyways though, so what I do is this. I keep these things here called shield bases. So I take shield Andal, which is the one that I use. Now this contains a couple things. First off, it contains the edge of the shield. This metal bar here. This I spent a bit of time creating this and all. And I took existing shield art and all, and then just sort of cut out bits of it and sort of copy-pasted to get it to work well. So it contains that on its own layer, which is here on the lower layer. And then above that, you can sort of see here, I included some grime just here. And you know what? I'm not sure what this thing is. I'm going to delete that. Yeah, so using multiple layers for creating shields is really nice. Yeah. And then a couple more things. Yeah. Or I don't want to export that. I want to save that. Then X out of that so I can't undo it. And I don't want that. Delete. And there. And I want that to be visible. Yeah, so a couple other things about shields before I go into too much more depth. First off, these textures that you see here, these are DDS files. DDS files, I believe you can edit them just right off the bat, no problem, if you have Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, I think it could be a little bit of an issue with editing them, just because like it's like with GIMP at least, I think I had to download a plugin to be able to do it. Once you do get the DDS plugin and all, another trick is this: you have to open up the DDS file when you first open GIMP and all that. Otherwise, for some reason, it will not be able to detect them. So if you open up like a PNG in GIMP and then try and open your DDS file, it's not going to work. Another thing you need to remember is this: when you're working with these DDS files and all, there's different ways to export them. It's really tempting to just click on the overwrite redwine diff.dds. And this is the most important thing: you can't do that. Instead, you have to click export over it, and also export. So I'm replacing the old DDS file. And then you have to choose the compression and the bitmaps. Specifically, the compression is BC3DXT5. This is true for all Medieval 2 skins. Whenever you edit a DDS file in Medieval 2, BC3DXT5 compression and generate bitmaps. These are the two really important things. If you don't do them, I don't think it'll cause a crash, but the units won't work and all. So always remember BC3DXT5 and generate bitmaps. So okay, and then yeah, so that's been exported over. The upside is this, at least with GIMP. Now, if you just click export like that, it'll now export in that sort of way. So you're good from then on as long as GIMP is open. If it's not open, you gotta go over that again. But yeah. Anyways, though, so I've just exported over that, and now I'm going to put this texture here into the game itself. The way that you do that is this. There's a Grumpy Old Man has a texture to DDS converter and all that I believe is you can download from Total War Center. You can just Google it. I'm not sure what the link is, but yeah, you just Google texture to DDS converter Grumpy Old Man, and you'll find it. So you go to the folder Petty Kings Units. You go to here Redwine Diff and convert DDS to texture. See, Medieval 2 maintains everything inside of what are called text.texture files, which you can't actually edit, and I don't need that right now. So what it is you have to get the texture file going. So you've just overwritten this new Redwine diff file. You then go to Unit Models, Attachment Sets, and place it in here. Now, I'm not going to go into this right now, but all of these sort of attachment sets and whatnot, they're all governed inside of the battlemodels.modeldb file. This file here is annoying to edit, and I'll be showing you how to do it later. But basically, what the important thing is this: if you have your units, you'll have the model that they use, which has the file path to it, saying unit models, etc. And then you'll have these here, which are the texture of the unit itself and the texture of the attachment sets and all. So basically, if you want to have a whole bunch of units use the same shields and all, but different skins, it's really easy to say, okay, this unit here will use this skin, but we'll use the Andal. This is textures. It will use the Andal textures or whatever. So basically, what I'm doing right now is I'm basically replacing the old diff file, which is the weapons and whatnot, with the new one. So yeah, the attachment sets. I'm going to go into depth on this in a later video. This is its own whole topic and all, but yeah. So basically what I've done here is that file is already there, it's already being used, but I'm replacing it with the new one here. So with that done, let's start her up. Again, if you want to mess around with the settings, you can edit the CFG file. The CFG file will only take effect if you are using the batch file to launch it. Otherwise, you got to edit the Medieval 2 CFG file, which is a pain in the ass. But yeah. So what I'm going to do now is no, that's unspecified error. That happens sometimes. You do get random crashes on launch sometimes. That just happens. It's Medieval 2. It's an unstable engine and all that. So yeah, as far as I can tell, there's nothing you can do about that. Just try it again. If it happens like 3 times in a row, then there's a problem. But otherwise, you're fine. So I'm going to launch a custom battle here. Let's do Crack Claw Point. I like this one. Let's do House Redwine versus House Hightower. And I'm just going to show you that the new textures that I just input and all, they're now taking effect and all. So, going to have some Arbor Knights. There. And then these guys will just get their own roster like that. So, this is loading now and all that. I could quote here and all. It's based on the quote from King Henry King Henry of Navarre of France. But yeah. So anyways, these textures should now be appearing on the Redwine shields. Trying to edit with move with the mouse and all. Yeah. So as you can see here, so these shield textures that I just added here, these are the textures that I just added right in here and all. You see. However, these shields here are not of House Redwine. These are from House Roxton and 2 others from the High Upper Mandarin, all the area around where the Manderleys are, because this was originally based off of the Manderley shields. So these shields here need to be replaced and all that. So basically what we'll be doing now is we'll be creating new shields, or at least a new shield and all, and then I'll create the other one on my own time and all. And we'll be putting the new shield here over this guy. And we'll be, yeah, so it's basically what you will see at the end of this video is these shields here will actually be the new shields we created and all that. We've already replaced the Redwine ones, but we're going to have to replace these ones too, like that one. So yeah. So yeah, we can quit this battle now. So, alright, now into the breach. So this is one of those ones where somebody requested a house and all that, and so I worked with them to develop what the house would be like. So the house's name is at the moment House Sweetwater. They'll be placed in Rhymesport, and their sigil is, I believe, a ship with a like a sort of a viney kind of thing on the sail. So, and I believe that's it. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it could be a boat with a grapevine or a bunch on its flag. Sweet. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be taking this little sort of model here for the boat and all that, and I'll be expanding it a bit, and then putting a sort of red wine style grapevine here on the flag, putting on some water, and yeah, that should be good. House. Gonna get the red wine thing here. I like this here for grapevines and all that. And it makes sense that a house like that would use the red wine banner that I've been using, because this is the banner that I've been using in game. So yeah, I'm gonna. And so it makes sense that a house that is a bannerman of the red wines will be using their sigil for part of theirs. So yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I've got the shield base and all that, and so as you can see there's the lower layer, which is the edge of the shield, like that, and the upper layer, which is the grime. The grime is really important because otherwise the shields look totally unrealistic and all that. It just looks like, it looks bad. So the grime on it makes it feel more realistic without actually covering up the what you actually want to be showing. So I would say always include grime like this on it. It's really useful. So there and there. I'm gonna make it let's also get some I also like to see a little bit of, there should be water. I'm trying to decide how to do the water. I could just make it a purple background. Yeah, I'll do that for now. So here's another very useful trick that I use when making shields and all that. it's basically, it's okay to go, so what you do is this, you make a new layer, you pull that new layer down to the bottom, the very bottom, so it's below these two other layers. It's okay to go outside of this guy, like, it's okay to, like, say, have your art extend beyond the edge, because you can always use the magic wand, put the threshold really high, click on that, and then hit Control-I. Control-I basically selects everything that you haven't already selected, and then select Delete, and, whoops. So you get Control-I, it's on this level here, so basically you've selected everything outside of the center of the shield and all that. You then go down to the lower layer, the one you've done all the editing, hit delete, and now you basically trimmed it down. So that is a really, really, really useful tool and all that, so I would highly recommend you try that and all. Then afterwards you can just merge everything down over here and all to make it all one layer, and this will merge on top of this, etc. So yeah. I'm not going to do that just yet, but it's really, really nice to do. So that's all done. Also, as you can see, since this layer is lower down, the grime and the thing appear on top of it and all. So you can sort of see how it would actually look and all just from that. So I'm not going to add the red wine sigil yet. First, let's add this farming thing. So this is something I'm a little bit uncertain about. I couldn't find any better looking ships. And I don't think it's not going to be a huge deal because this is a relatively small sigil. But at the same time, having a ship like this could be a bit of a problem just because it's so tiny. So we'll have to wait and see how it looks. I mean, you could do some touching up on the edges of it. Have to expand it a bit. Scale. Yeah. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. To maybe do some detailing work around the edges. First off, let's go around the edges here. And here, let's do some overwriting them like this. So let's make the edges a bit harder. Because when the edges are soft like that, it doesn't look as good on a shield and all because it looks like it's pixelated and whatnot, and so that's not a good thing. Yeah, another sort of nerdy computer science thing while I'm doing this and all. There's a difference between, it's called vector art and raster art. Vector art is basically when all the lines are stored as like, okay, the line starts here and it goes this long, etc., etc., it has this much curve to it. Raster art is when it's all stored as pixels and all that. And so if you expand raster art like this, it's going to look bad. So generally you do not want to expand an image like this. Sometimes you have to if that's the one image that you got, but you generally don't want to. So that looks better and all, having the harder edge there. So I'm going to go all the way around the ship and all that, and add a hard edge. If you want to skip ahead, like just go down in the little the little loading bar thing and see when this stops. That's totally cool. But yeah, so sometimes you are going to have to do a task like this where you just sort of go over it and make it look better. Let's get all that. So there. So yeah, another thing that is really nice to do as well is if you're going to be creating new lore, come up with interesting lore for them and all. Like for example, this house here, the lore that I'm planning to do is that they are former pirates and all who basically were granted clemency by the Arbor because they assisted in helping to throw out the High Towers after the High Towers briefly conquered it. So so basically, like yeah, you want to. It's if you're gonna be creating your own new stuff, you should be interesting with it and all. So yeah. Excuse me. Also, one other thing, I'm gonna have to step out really briefly in a minute or two, just so I can let somebody in. Somebody's moving into the apartment today. Obviously, I will pause the video or whatnot when it comes to that, so you're not gonna have to sit around and wait while I'm helping the guy move in or whatnot. But yeah, just heads up there. Yeah, let's get the interior here as well. Now the nice thing is this, when you're modding, it's really nice to have music playing while you mod and all that. I mean, it sort of makes the experience a lot more sort of fun, you know, and stuff. So yeah, I'm not doing it right now because I'm doing the video, but yeah, it's really nice to have music going in the background. I'd probably get sued if I did put music in the background, so there's that, but I mean, if you're not making a video, definitely try music. So, there, and let's get these little guys here. So yeah, this is the house that somebody donated some money to create and all that. So if you want your own house like this, go over to our ModDB page and throw in a bit of cash. That would be most excellent. There is a limit to the number of settlements we can include in the game and all, so I may at some point have to stop doing that because there's the Medieval 2 hard limits to consider and all. I'm not going to cut out an existing lore-based settlement and all that to make room for a non-lore-based one. So yeah. So yeah, if you want to get your own house, you might want to come a little bit quicker. Custom units, you can also get those as well. Those ones probably we're not gonna quote unquote run out of them and all, so that should be just fine if you want one of those. But yeah, and then just gonna get the top area here. There. That's a little bit too much. Yeah. Let's see how this looks from further out. There, it's much better, yeah. Okay, and then there. 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 Yeah. Another upside of shields, or a reason to spend a lot of time working on shields, is because shields are really the best way to sort of differentiate your units from each other and all that. I mean, sure, they don't seem that important at first, but having a variety of shield textures makes your units feel a lot more unique and all that. And so, yeah, it makes things a lot more interesting and all, just having all the heraldry there. So, definitely something that you want to try for making your own mods. That should be good. Let's add a little bit up here. Alright, sweet. And then, okay, that's good then, sweet. So yeah, and then one final thing, you should make the edges a little bit, like a little bit soft. So just gonna briefly go over these and soften it up a little bit. And that's that's my cell phone. I gotta go in a second. Let's just get this softened. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to pause this and come back after I help the guy move in. Just one more second. One more, almost there, almost there. Okay, that should look good, sweet. So I'll be adding the like the vines and stuff and adding it to this thing and all when I get back. So alright. Admiral Thrawn here again. I have returned after letting in the new roommate and all. He seems like a pretty cool dude, so yeah, there's that. And so yeah, just gonna make this a little bit more, a little bit less pixelated and all. And then once that's done, now maybe you're wondering why did I bother to make it a hard edge and then go over and make it more pixelated and whatnot. The reason is because going over with a tool like this makes it evenly pixelated and all. If it's unevenly pixelated and all, it looks really bad. If it's evenly pixelated, it looks more realistic and all. So, yeah. Yeah, it may not seem like much, but it does make a difference and all. So, there. Now, I think I'm also going to make this lower part here be brown, just because, I mean, it's a ship, so it makes sense, I would say. So I'm going to pick me a color for that. There. And going to do that there. And then let's and there. Okay. Do I want to keep that? I don't want to keep that now. I'll leave it the old way. This is fine. If I need to change it, I will, but I think that this way here should be fine. So now I'm going to add the vines onto the flag. Let's see. There, that should be good. Add alpha channel. You always got to add an alpha channel if you want to be deleting stuff like this and all, because otherwise it's a bit of an issue and all. Just because an alpha channel basically means transparency and all, being able to have the background be transparent. And that's always really important. So let's not forget these little guys in here. Or whatever that is. Delete and delete. So this should be good. Way too big, obviously, but we can deal with that. No, I don't want to make it bigger. Alright. So let's see how this looks from further out. Looks okay. I think I'm gonna try and make the ship be brown again. See if I can actually get that to work. So I like the sort of I really like the little sort of blackish lines that go along here. I think that looks really good. But I may have to just do those myself. Yeah, and then there, and then alright, and there, and then there. Just go over this with the pencil. Yeah. And then let's make this flag up here green. Or let's make it be brightish, sort of purpley pink and all. Yeah, you can see that. Alright. And then we got go over these edges here and I'll make them blend. Make them blend. Make them blend. Make them blend. Oh, that's a little too much blending right there. Blend this in here. And let's see how this looks. That's better. Yeah, I think that should be good. Oh yeah, I would say this is good for now. I might go over it again and do a couple more changes and all. But for the time being, I think that this is a worthy attempt and all. So I'm going to show you how to now get this shield here into the game. So you got to take the magic wand. You got to put the threshold really high, because the threshold is basically how much it will select and all. Like because it selects everything of the same color you click on, and the threshold is how much leeway you're going to give it. So a lot of leeway, so you basically get as much as you possibly can. And then do Control-I to select everything around that. Select the layer that you've been working on, which, as you can see, basically this layer here just looks like that, but with this stuff overlaid, it looks much better. Delete all the stuff you're not using, and then you go merge down, and then Control-A to select everything, Control-Copy to copy it. And one thing that's really nice is if you can make it so that the shield you're working on is the correct size to put onto here, that's really nice. Because you can just go Control-Paste, move it over here, Control-Paste, and Control-Paste. I'm gonna be adding another shield here as well, but for the time being, I'm going to put it over all 6, and I'll just so you can more easily see it when I show you this. There, Control-Paste, there. Alright, so I've got these new shields here made, and since I already did the exports, export DXT5, generate bitmaps and all that, that's not the default, so I can just go export to redwinediff.dds or whatnot. So that's all been exported and all. I now have finished this, basically. Probably going to go over it one more time just to make it look a little bit better and all. But for now, this should be sufficient just for the demo. Petty King's units, convert DDS to texture, and then go to, this is the video that I'm currently recording and all, Petty King's units, redwinediff.texture, unit models, attachment sets, overwrite it, and start her up. See what we can do. And single player, custom battle, Krakla Point, Redwine and Hightower, there, and then let's not use the Redwine levies because I still have to do some work on them. There's some model stuff that I've been changing around. Actually, let's see if they're actually working. They may actually be good now. We'll have to wait and see. They may look. Their shields may all be blank. Huh, that's not good. Okay, so that caused a crash, which is not a good thing. Let's see. That may have to do with the levies and all. I think that the levies in themselves might be broken right now. I made a lot of changes to the way the levies work and all. One of the the tragedies, I call it a tragedy, I mean, like, it's totally on the same level as, like, Syria or whatnot, but yeah, one of the tragedies of 2.0 is that we're going to have to get rid of the levy system and all to make room for the new units, which is too bad, but it happens. So, yeah, once the memory editing project is complete and all, which will hopefully be soon, take out the levies, hopefully this will not crash. Yeah, once the memory editing project is finished and all, I plan to put the levies and stuff back in. But for now, I've sort of had to make the levies generic to the entire region and all. So it's not a huge deal, I think, because it basically means that instead of having Blackwood levies, totally levies, and advanced levies, you'll have just Blackwood levies that have totally advanced shields, as well as Blackwood shields. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's basically they work the same as all the other units and all, but yeah. So, as you can see here, when you turn this thing around, they now have these shields. Let's give you a better look at these guys. Yeah, so as you can see here now, the house Sweetwater, their shields are now part of the host as well. Let's find some knights that we can show you that have these. There's House Sweetwater's shield in amongst these guys, and also, yeah, that's how you add new shields. And then show you a couple of the Hightower ones as well. I added a whole bunch for Hightower also. And also, so basically, these here are the new levies and all that. These South March levies and all. So basically, it's like the whole faction has the levies instead of just the one house and all. So it happens. Oh well. Medieval 2 limits suck, but what can you do? And then yeah. So that is it for today. I'll be adding, obviously this is not all a final product and all, it's very much a work in progress, so yeah. But yeah, that's how you make custom shields and all. I'll be doing another video on how to make new models, new weapons, and probably some new buildings as well, stuff like that. So, I mean, if I'm going to be doing this work, I might as well make videos of it as well while I'm doing it and all, makes it more interesting for me, and hopefully informative for you. So yeah. That's it for this Let's Mod. Admiral Thrawn, signing off.